Keep it 1,000, keep it 1,000. Keep it a stack, keep it a stack. We kill 1,000, kill 1,000. It's deeper than rap, it's deeper than rap. It's the Keep It 1,000 podcast. It do not stop. It's the Keep It 1,000 podcast. It do not stop with me.
This is the Keep It 1,000 podcast. We're going to keep it all the way a stack. And I'm your host, KL1000. And as you can see, it do not stop. It do not stop with me. And I got a special guest in the building, man. Videographer. Something I didn't know, producer. We're going to talk about that. Director. I'm talking about work with everybody you can name. Name somebody he didn't work with. I'm talking about 19 in the building, man. Mr.Onenine in the building. What up?
What's going on? What's going on?
Man, glad to have you on the show, man.
Appreciate it.
We gonna get right into it. So, what part of Baton Rouge you grew up in?
No one ever asked that follow-up question with me, but O'Neill, the Woodlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it growing up over there?
Oh man. I mean, it looking back, it was see, my mom is from Valley Park, and she had like a really rough upbringing. You know, mom died when she was a kid, was abused. So when she had me and my brother, she was like, we're gonna go way out here. And it was a little kind of isolating. You know, I learned some lessons about racism that I didn't think that I would learn, you know, growing up with white kids and I went to River Oaks Elementary, where I was the only, you know, Black kid in my class. And then I went to McKinley Middle right the year whenever they started doing the regular program and not just magnet and gifted. So I got like just a really big culture shock. And I think that's coming from, you know, that's what happens when you raised in the Woodlands.
Right.
But yeah. O'Neill Lane. That's my
O'Neill Lane in the building, man. Shout out O'Neill Lane.
Shout out
you know what I'm saying? That's how that goes.
Yeah.
So what kind of music did you listen to growing up, man?
Oh man, growing up, I listened to my mom is a music head, so I feel like that's where I would get it from. You know, I feel like my earliest memories of music was like my mom. Everyone has, you know, mom cleaning up, playing music. She would play like Al Green and, you know, Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and all these older people, Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle. You know, I feel like the first music like artist that I really liked and at a young age was TLC. I just remember them mainly because of all that. And in 1992, I don't know, I was born in 88. They came out in 92. All that was out in around 95. They were like just this cool kids thing, and they were everywhere. And then my favorite, you know, artist is from the 90s, Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, you know. So you know, I remember my first time listening to, you know, to them. I liked everything that back then is Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, you know, I like everything that he touched back then, from Biggie to Mary J. Blige, Lil' Kim, 112, The Lox, you know, everything that he touched back, SWV. You know, Diddy was even involved in TLC. I feel like Diddy, I have a lot of respect for him. And then Jay-Z, you know, I feel like that's why I respect Jay-Z and regard him as the most successful rapper, just because he was from that era, and he's one of the few people from that era you can say their name and most people, young and old, know who the hell it is. Whereas, you know, somebody like, yeah, absolutely. Whereas there was a time where somebody like LL Cool J was more respected as an artist in the game. But I talked to a lot of people, most people don't even remember LL Cool J, at least as a rapper, when he was like the first nigga to do this and that in the rap game. But
right.
Yeah, I listened to, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
You got a variety, huh?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
When you picked up that camera, man, and started shooting video?
First time I picked up a camera probably was whenever I was 18 and I was able to get my first credit card, and I went to Office Depot and right there by where Cortana used to be, and I got a little point and shoot camera, and no, I'm lying. Before then, I had a point and shoot camera, and I remember my first photo shoot was with this girl I went to high school with, Olivia Nguyen, And we did a photo shoot, and we still talk about it because I was like really directing her. Look, there's one picture I'm like point at a flower. She's just pointing at a flower, and we just laugh at that picture. But and then she's actually a model and an interior designer now. But then after that, like I said, I was 18. I bought a point and shoot camera, and I recorded interviews. I did a mixtape project where I brought different artists together, put them all on one mixtape. You know, Kevin Gates is he you know, at the time I was cool with Gus, and he introduced me to Travis, and he put his single with featuring Boosie. It was released on my mixtape before he dropped his, so he helped me promote it. But I did interviews, and they're actually still online. And you know, that was one of the first like times where I, you know, used my camera. And in that, I didn't consider myself a director at that point. You know, I just had a camera, and this was my project I needed to shoot for.
You was making mixtapes back then. You say you had Gates on your mixtape? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was my first. I consider that my first, like, you know.
So this before you start shooting. Let's go. The music was before
2006, 2007.
So the music was before you picked up the camera, basically.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hands down.
Well,
I started playing piano in middle school. By high school, I was playing well. I knew I was going to be producing, and so when I got out of high school, I wanted to. You know, I was making beats, I was recording. I used to have my little laptop in my backpack, and I would go to niggas' houses. That was like, wasn't as common or really common at all. And it kind of helped me get a lot of clients because I could come to you with my laptop and my inbox and my nice mic. Recording, niggas mixing, making beats, all of that, doing freestyles in Easy Town, all of that.
So you start taking photos first. When you got the camera.
Oh, okay. No, I started taking photos. That was whenever I had the point and shoot. By the time I bought my first digital camera, I got the digital primarily for the video.
Okay.
I mean, back then pictures were terrible on the first, like, you know, digital cameras that were out. You know, they were really bad. But yeah, I did interviews. And in fact, I don't know if do you know Katie? You remember Katie? Shirley and T. Khadijah?
Katie. I heard her name.
She was a singer, and I interviewed her, and I made her a MySpace fan page. And from the interview, she got signed to Trill ENT, and they saw the interview, and that's how I got hired as an intern for Trill ENT.
Okay.
And, you know, that's kind of how, and they were the ones, and whenever they hired me as an intern, I'm thinking, yes, I get to, where's Mouse? Where's Boosie? Where are the artists? I want to get to making this music. They were like, no, you know how to do all this technical shit. We need you to work the camera, do these interviews, and work MySpace, because you're obviously good at MySpace and social media. At the time, it was called new media because it was new. And so you're over new media. And I never really considered, I didn't think that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just eventually get to the music. They're like, I feel like everybody was just like, no, we want you with the camera. We want you to do these designs. We want you to do social media management and boost numbers, you know? So that's what I was doing at Trill ENT.
So who the first person you shot a video for?
A music video?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I did Lil Fat's first interview for his Life of a Youngster mixtape. It's still on my YouTube channel. It's private though, because he actually got a lot of bullying and random negative comments. So we took it down years ago, but I still have it, and I was gonna release it at some point. But the first music video that I did was in 2011. And that's whenever my homeboy called me and he said that his little brother needed me to come hold the camera because they were already shooting videos themselves, but they wanted to be in the same video at the same time. So they needed me to come do it. And so I just tried it out, edited it, and threw it on a YouTube channel. I made a YouTube channel because I was gonna do events and record the events and put the recordings on YouTube. So I made a YouTube channel, Straight Up Events. And then when I shot that video, I uploaded it to that page, and that was Lil Mook and Josh. That was the very first music video that's on my page. On my
shout channel. Out Lil Mook and Josh, Lil Josh.
Shout out to Mook and Josh. Yeah.
That's how they go. So where did the name Mr.Onenine come from?
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, basic. It's so crazy. I mean, I needed an email address. I got an invite to Gmail when it was brand new, and my email address. I just, one was this song by Lauryn Hill that I love that she performed live, and then 9 in high school I was into numerology, and if you add up all the numbers in my birthday or whatever, some shit equals I'm a 9, and I read what it meant. Okay, cool, So I made my email 190588, and then by the time I started producing music, around the time I was graduating high school, I needed like a tag. I didn't know, my first when I go back and listen to my early productions, I would say 19 Productions, but this is a Brandon Singleton beat. I thought I just called my production company 19, and people are like, well, who's 19? I guess I'm 19. And then as time went on, it began to adopt other meanings. One for me is like the best you can be as an individual, and 9 represents the most you can put out as an individual.
Damn.
So when I say 9, I tried to, by the time I got to doing straight up, that was kind of something that I would aspire to do. I wanted to put out as much as I can without the limitations of requiring others. So I know that I made a conscious choice not to get into the film world and the bigger budget, because that kind of, and it's not saying I'm not a team player. I just prefer to have full control over music video projects. I feel like I'm more inclined to do those team projects now, but when I first started, I knew that I didn't want to, I wanted to see what I could do the most on my own. So that's 19.
Right. That's how that goes. So over 750 artists later, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's just music video artists. I've probably worked with, if you count all the artists, I've done photo shoots, designs, other collaborations, musical projects. I was in a band for a couple of years and performed at, several concerts, festivals. It's definitely in well over 1,000 artists that I know I've worked with, over my whole career.
So
that's actually what I'm most proud of, more than any, view count or subscription count. The fact that many people, repeatedly chose to, hey, they considered and paid and wanted to use me to represent them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's an invitation or a flyer or doing their videos. That means a lot to me. That's what I'm proud of.
Straight up entertainment.
Straight up.
That's what I'm talking about. So where did straight up entertainment come from? And what does straight up entertainment consist of?
I didn't come up with the name at all. I kind of didn't like the name at all. My homeboy, Ray, it says Mook older brother. And he had an idea for there was a period of time where we were just throwing business ideas back to back. Like we were just like, we got to come up with a business, lawnmower. Okay, we ain't gonna do lawn. How can we maybe sell some products? We came up with the shrimping business. And then he was like, look, I got an idea for a shirt company where, it can say straight up, but it'll have an arrow instead of the up. And it could be a shirt, and we can have our, promoters, because he was doing events at the time, wear the shirts, and, it'll be a brand and it'll promote the events. And so, like I said, I made the YouTube channel Straight Up Events for that endeavor. And I just had the logo at the time. My company was Media Addict LLC, and I was doing like, business cards and flyers. And it's like, I couldn't put Lil Mook and Josh and promote them on my same Facebook page as, I'm doing cupcake logos and dentist websites and stuff, So I was like, let me just use this shirt logo, thing for this project, for, my entertainment projects. And so that's where Straight Up came from. It was, like I said, it was a shirt idea. I adopted it. I used it. I later I was able to change my channel link to Straight Up ENT, but the emails, right now, the account is Straight Up Events.
Okay. Man, shout out to Straight Up Events, man. Y'all powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do y'all shit for real.
It's still Straight Up ENT. That's just the email. Straight Up Events, ain't nothing. Straight Up ENT. That's the brand.
Like we said, work with over 750 artists, man. Salute to that. But what are some of the people that you would like to work with that you haven't worked with? Like, you know, it could be anybody. And I know it's hard because you did 750. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it gets to a point to where it's not necessarily about the working with somebody who has a certain status or recognition. That's not a particular goal of mine. I've, you know, like I said, my favorite person in the world is Lauryn Hill, and I've gotten a chance to have a Skype call with her and met her.
Come on.
And I was like, I remember after that, I was young. I was like, I don't have anything else to look forward to. But at the same time, it makes me look at who I work with a little bit differently. I don't want to work with you because you're famous. I want to work with you because, you know, because of your passion for the project. And I find that those type of people really come in high and low places. And so, you know, that's a super roundabout, indirect way of answering your question. I know that your question was, who do I want to work with? That's really me just saying, I can't think of anyone in particular off the top of my head.
You care about the art of it. You know, it's the art.
Correct.
You know,
and I'm not super interested in working with industry artists just because, again, like, I don't really like the idea of getting a, you know, $50,000 music video budget when you have to have 20 crew and goes through all these different people. And it's like, sometimes when I say I don't like something, people think that it's like, you know, I'm putting it down. I think that's awesome. If you're getting that, you know, I think that's a respectable, if you're aspiring to do that, do that. I just personally, I'm not going for that. So that's why it's like, you know, would I want to shoot a video for 50 Cent? No, not really. Would I want to shoot a video for even, I don't know, name whatever industry artist? It wouldn't be about them. It would be about, hey, how do we meet? What is this project about? You know, and is it something that we're, you know, both passionate about?
Right. That's how that go. Now, you actually teach Photoshop at a Struma?
Digital media at Capital.
Oh, okay. Capital.
Yeah,
my bad. I got it wrong. Hey.
Yeah, it's all good. my first 2 years was Photoshop. No, my first 3 years was Photoshop. And then the last year I had Adobe Premiere.
Okay. So how did that situation come about? You just...
It's crazy because, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I was in a band whenever I was like 20 years old, 21, called Second Story. And it was this guy named Blair Taylor and another guy named Carlin Jacobs. And Blair Taylor, he produces for Ryan Leslie and is in Cali now. The other guy, I just blanked out. But yeah, the other guy in the group ended up getting into digital media and graphic design, and he was, you know, over the program for Louisiana, and Capitol High needed somebody who could certify or get Photoshop certifications to their students, and he was like, yeah, I know a guy who's great at Photoshop. I was in a band with him, Carlin Jacobs, and so yeah, Carlin hit me up and was like, hey, you know, Capitol needs a teacher, and so I remember just being like, I'm not a teacher. And it was the weirdest interview. I've never had an interview where like the job was trying to convince me to work for them. Like it was you know, because I honestly didn't, you know, I attended LSU for 2 years and I dropped out when I got my internship at Trillium T. So I wasn't even a college graduate. And so, you know, the idea of being a teacher was kind of weird for me, but I knew Photoshop like the back of my hand. I got certified, you know, my first try when I needed to get my certifications. And then, you know, I ended up like, it ended up being like the school favorite class. Like everyone loves Mr. Singleton's class. Everyone's skipping, trying to be in my class, you know, and it was I love the experience.
Man, I definitely salute for that, man. Teaching that's a skill people could take, you know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
Live off that forever, you know what I'm saying? Especially the kids. Want to commend you on that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And even if they don't go on to necessarily be graphic designers or whatever, I feel like, you know, between me and some of my other teachers and coworkers, the idea is to kind of show them that, hey, if you learn a skill that you're interested in, you can take it and make money from it, and it's something that you can't get fired from. You know, that's what I used to always say, like, can't nobody fire me from shooting videos. Can't nobody fire me from making flyers. You know, can't nobody fire somebody from cutting hair. Can't nobody fire you from, you know, doing nails. It's really up to, you know, there are other options. So
that's real talk, man. Well, I got a segment in my show, man, where I say it's time to keep it 1,000, and I'm giving free promos to any business, anybody doing their thing. Just leave a brief comment, a description of what you got going on, and I'm gonna shout you out. It don't take but a second to keep it a stack. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So today's shout out goes to End Zone Daiquiri BR. You know, y'all go check them out. Nothing but good vibes, good music, and good service. Y'all go follow at the End Zone Daiquiri BR. That's how that go.
Yeah.
So
shout out to End Zone.
That's how that goes. So you work with a lot of Baton Rouge artists. Who would you like to see in a Baton Rouge versus if they had a Baton Rouge versus?
That's interesting. Who I want to see in that versus? I want to see. You know, being from Baton Rouge, you probably can understand what I'm about to say.
I think.
I have no, you know, I have no side in terms of like side stuff outside of creative projects, and I'm not aware of who is affiliated with who, whatever. And oftentimes I typically find myself, you know, knowing both parties on, you know, opposing ends of the spectrum. So that being said, I'm not considering any of that when I'm thinking about a verse. I'm thinking about just straight rap style and what I would want to see. So I don't know. I think I would want to see a battle like I don't know, like Jungle Music Larry versus Go Yella.
You could do more than one. Yeah, that's pressure though. I ain't lying.
I would want to see 72nd Carlos and WAP do one. I feel like they kind of, you know, I feel like that would be a fun, especially if you're going by previous songs and whatnot. They have some really good things in their catalog that I think will go head to head. I want to see, what's my dude? Why can't I think of his name? We have the same last name. Singleton. Light skin. Lil One the Champ and like Spitter. I want to see them.
I ain't lying. They gonna be slinging them balls all around that bitch. I ain't gonna lie.
For real, absolutely.
They gonna be slinging them balls around that bitch. I ain't lying.
Represent for my lyrical people. I want to see a Fox Max Minnelli. Fox and Mill Max Minnelli.
That'll be a great one too.
You know,
I ain't lying.
I have a huge deal of respect for both of their catalogs and their contributions to just the music scene in general that they don't get enough respect for, I don't think, and they don't even demand it either. They cool, but shout out to them too.
Right, man. Shout out Fox, shout out Max Minnelli, man. Max Minnelli kept it real with me and came on the show.
That's really? I'm gonna check that one out.
Yeah, check that one out, man. It's all on YouTube.
Legend status. Humble guy.
So you taught, like I said, we mentioned you teach media, digital media at Capital. And you had some proteges, man, that kind of, you know, got blessed with, you know, being under you. DeMarcus TV.
Now DeMarcus didn't attend Capital. But DeMarcus,
that's what I was getting into. Some of these proteges, did you just grab them or you just saw something in them? What made you start working with these dudes like Malik TV and DeMarcus TV and countless others, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that as you know, do certain things and start to, you know, grow publicly, people will hit you up like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And so I always take the time, you know, to kind of reply to, you know, to messages where I can tell that this isn't just like somebody promoting at me or they have like something that I feel like I can answer. So, you know, I met DeMarcus, he hit me up. He was still in high school at Catholic High and he wanted to come to a video shoot just to watch and to learn. I remember I talked to his mom and, you know, everything and she came with him and he started coming to my video shoots. And then that summer I did a video boot camp where, you know, I kind of showed like, you know, about social media and about cameras and this and that. And that's when I met Stacks TV. He was in high school as well. DeMarcus, they were in the boot camp, but they also came with me on other, shoots. That's also when I was doing the boot camp, when Neek and King, they're an online couple, they used to come to my class almost every single day, saying, hey, we want to start our YouTube channel, asking me questions about cameras, how does this work? I actually set up their first page. It had straight up ENT on it. I did their first banners, introduced them to, how that world works really. Malik, I attended a music video workshop with Novak about 2015, something like that. And he and I, we just, clicked, during the class, and he asked again if he could come on some shoots with me. And then, after about maybe 6 months to a year of being with me, he bought a camera and he asked me if he could, he showed me his work and asked if he could direct for Straight Up. And he's been shooting for me all the way up to this day. Malik's been, dope.
Man, you gotta respect the grind that they did. They reached out to you.
Yeah.
You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? They attended those Absolutely. Workshops and, put in the work, man. It wasn't just Absolutely. Pick up a camera and just shoot.
Absolutely.
They really put in the work to get better. You know what I'm saying? I salute to them.
Absolutely. They had a genuine interest in just the craft. They weren't, doing it just as a quick come up or just, clout chasing or any of that. DeMarcus, he studied it like a book. Like DeMarcus, he has like an encyclopedic knowledge of my like video work. Whenever he met me, he was like, Onenine, you remember whenever you shot video, 3 years ago when you used this effect, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't even remember what that video was, but like, I knew that he was,
he in tune.
Absolutely. And then, the type of language I like to avoid, I never say, oh, I'm responsible for, or I made this person, or I put this person on. One thing that I like to accept is the reality, which is I was a part of people's careers at different points,
that's
important points. But that just being a part doesn't, it's important, but you can never make up for, like what you said, for the grind that they put in, just the effort, just, going above and beyond, putting in the work, learning, trial and error, navigating through politics. Like, so, I never, try to say, oh, like people always say, yeah, Onenine, you put this person on, you put that. I didn't put them on. I was a part of their career in a meaningful way, and I'm appreciative for that. That's a mutual benefit. That's something that helped me as well. In 2011, it was like 2 years after I started my first LLC, Media Addict, which was my first time making money and kind of connecting the dots in my head at the time between, oh wow, I can do just a few flyers and a logo and be able to afford an apartment with a roommate. And so, like, from then, I feel like, or even before then, like I think whenever, Gus Make My Beats, he went to school with my brother, and we attended church together. We were in the same church group. He was the one that gave me Fruity Loops, and he told me about how he made money from making beats. And that was the first time when I was like, oh, I like music. I'm going to LSU just for something, a certificate that says I could play the piano. Let me, try to pursue this and try to make money from making beats. And from there, I ended up learning more about business. And, as a result, I learned design, and I don't know. So all that to say, once I adopted that mentality of, oh, I'm going to use my talent to make money.
Some people, on their journey, when it get tough, I ain't gonna mess with it. They might come back to it, but they might just, quit for a little while. I was just trying to see, did you have any moments like that when it got tough, or did it get tough? It might have didn't get tough for you. I mean,
it's definitely gotten tough, but it's the type of tough that it's tough because of the situation, and I never got to a place where I felt like my career was out of my control, so that's why, like, the idea of giving up on it for me doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't say it doesn't make sense, but I just hadn't considered it, because if I gave up shooting videos, I'm gonna do something with music. If I gave up doing something with music, I'm gonna teach. If I gave up teaching and couldn't shoot music videos, couldn't do music,
you're gonna be doing something.
I don't know how not to do those things. I don't know how not to, how to create in some way. I feel like, I don't know.
That's in your blood.
Absolutely.
So what's the best camera to use like with a low budget? I don't know if I could put a number. I don't know if I could put a number on low budget for the shoot a music video.
For music video,
like right now.
Right now, $1,200 Blackmagic 4K cinema. $1,200, you get a 4K high bitrate cinema quality. It's just the highest quality for that amount. If you have a little bit more money, then maybe get the 6K version for $2,000. Sub 1,000, you're looking at vlogging cameras and cameras that don't have the ability to, to have a lot of the features that you need in terms of color depth and slow motion that I just hadn't seen, on sub $1,000 cameras. So if you're trying to shoot a music video, you don't have much money, or the Sony A6400, 6200, that 6000 series, all them cameras are good. And again, that's going to be between $1,000 and $1,500.
That's how they go. Free game. You know what I'm saying? That's how they go. So what's
learn
next?
How to use a camera. Learn how to use a camera, and every camera that you purchase in that price point will do what it needs to do. It's not about the, don't become a brand person where it's like, oh, my videos suck because I don't have Canon. No, it sucks because you didn't learn the exposure triangle and how to, fix the settings how you need to.
That's how they go. So your career going and it's steady moving. What's next for Mr.Onenine?
Shoot, I want to keep producing. I'm about to be teaching again. I'm going back to teaching. Capital got me back. They hit me up. They, made me a little offer, and that's I found that was a really, fulfilling work-life balance. And I actually did the most shooting while I was teaching. I don't know how I did it, but I had a year where I shot over 140 videos. And that was while I was a teacher. That's when I was shooting for Man and TEC and G Money, and it was a whirlwind. But so yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. I'm not so much. I'm still shooting music videos, I guess, but I'm not looking to go further down that line. If you hit me up, of course I'm going to shoot that, but I'm looking to do other types of productions, still musically involved, like, other types of like documentary series, shows, all this type of stuff. That's why even stuff like this, I feel like this is the next wave. You can contribute creatively besides just doing a music video. There is such thing as a saturation point. Let's create visuals, but do something else on camera besides rap.
Right. So definitely, man.
Yep.
So
I learn how to make stuff. I want to learn carpentry. Yeah.
Carpentry.
I want to make lamps and shit and benches. So
can you just throw out some of the credits for the people that don't know, like who you work with?
Some of the credit,
like
sure,
Fredo Bangs, the Kevin Gates, the
Kevin Boosie, Trillian, everybody from Trill. That's Boosie, Fat, 3D, Webby, Fox, all of them. Kevin Gates, Dead, everyone from Dead Game. Shout out to Travis, shout out to Gus. People from that era as well that were known. So your Slaughterhouses, your Max Minnelli's, your RIP Nissy, but I worked with Nissy. We did a little freestyle thing back in the Gap. Then moving forward, I'm kind of doing the timeline. There's D1. I did his project for 7 years, his website, media. Went on a 10-city tour with Lecrae, gospel, gospel rapper. Then we have, I guess, Baton Rouge people. So starting with, like your Mooks and Josh, your hood people, hood heroes. Like your young niggas with money, Lil Juice. I remember the time when Juice was the young boy of the city. But yeah, but then, of course, Young Boy did his first photo shoot, first, artwork. Fredo actually, was the first. I signed Fredo to straight up ENT and G Money.
So you signed Fredo Bang and G Money.
Absolutely, yep. We had.
How did that situation come about?
I called it a media deal, like a media management deal. And essentially, when I met Fredo, I actually thought he was somebody else. He had hit me up, and I thought he was my friend's little brother that wanted to, shoot a music video. The screen name was similar at the time. I forgot what it was. And so whenever I met up with him, it was at a Hammond Air Shopping Center, and it was him and his mom. And I think I was charging like $300 or $400, but I did his first video for $100 since he was in high school. He wanted, and it was the video No Secret. And I remember it was featuring Lil Juice. And at the time, like I said, Juice was like the hottest, whatever. And he didn't show up for it. And I thought that was crazy because he lied to Fredo and said he was in Houston. But later on that day, he was in Thug Brothers video, and I shot that video featuring Juice.
Come on.
Shitted on Fredo to go be in Thug Brothers video. Damn. That was kind of fucked up. But anyway, so I started shooting, I decided to keep the same deal, going with Fredo, where I'm, letting him pay a little bit less, and we're shooting his videos. And we noticed that after diving in your shit, that's whenever my partner had, Allie, she was, this was before Blackouts, when she was doing Fresh to Death, when she was doing parties, back when YBZ was promoting for her and all that, all these different people. And we noticed that the videos and what she was doing with the events really helped promote the videos and the songs. And so we were like, hey, we'll do your music videos, and we'll get you on all these events, and we'll hype you up and promote you and put our name behind you, if you sign this. And we were gonna start booking them and start monetizing, creating shirts and merchandise and all that type of stuff. So that was the gist of the agreement. And it wasn't just them. It was G Money, Fredo. It was a girl named Joaquin and another guy named Trust Justin, and they all signed the same deal. And after that, this was so we already shot several videos. This was after Crazy Trey died. We shot Diving in Your Shit, and the first video we shot after they signed was iPhone 6, and that was the TBG saga. I've never talked about this. It's so crazy.
This to be the first of 1,000 podcasts. Let's get it.
They were. I remember first of all, Cleasy, Jock, shout out to them for building having that vision and building that type of empire. But they know for a fact that first photo shoot I knew it was a shit show. It was the worst photo shoot of my life. They were so dysfunctional. Everybody was clicked up. You had, Young Boy and his people, and Fredo over here. There was other niggas was low key hating on Fredo and G Money, because they were the popular ones. And I'm not coming out until it's my time. It was very toxic. From at least during that particular time period with them. However, what they had that me and my partner didn't have, they had a building. They had a studio, and I couldn't compete with that. And so because of that, they were, they saw what I was doing with Fredo, G Money, and they wanted to enhance that. And so I was upset that Fredo actually took our email out of his Instagram bio and put theirs for booking. And so that's whenever, I actually was just like, okay, look, if you don't want us to promote you anymore, then, hey, that's fine. Hey, just go with TBG, because I recognize that I didn't have that type of thing, and I'm not the type of person to to go against the grain. And then again, so it wasn't it wasn't a negative thing. It was more or less like, okay, hey, I'm now working with Jock and Cleasy on their next several videos, which we did. I shot the I Love Pussy video. I shot a couple of other videos after that one. And then, yeah.
So it's still all love, though.
Oh yeah. Fredo is one of the few people that I feel like, in terms of how, how our relationship has been completely unaffected by, any industry success. I could call, FaceTime Fredo anytime. He always picks up. He returns my calls and texts. And for me, that's all I feel like early on, I recognize it's like, hey, I'm not going to be your cameraman forever, but, you know, hey, can we just, you know, whenever we do talk, as long as we, you know, cool, as long as we can maintain a good relationship. If I bring up a project to him, he's down for it as long as it makes sense. And, you know, so I have a lot of respect for Fredo, you know, especially given our history.
That's how that go. So I always in my shows with any advice for the kids, man. Baton Rouge is like, it's wicked, bro. So, I mean, I'm hearing babies. I moved out the city, but I'm hearing babies getting hit and all this type of stuff, man. Like,
yeah.
Just any advice for the kids, man. Like, they tripping. They need it.
Advice. I would say that you hear things a lot by older people throughout your life that you hear it so much that it starts to lose sense. One of those things I would look at really closely is we've all heard that you have to really, you know, look within and kind of work on yourself so you can, you know, be what you need to be among others. And I think that a lot of times, and I'm speaking from myself, you know, that I didn't start that process of like, wow, like, let me kind of think about what makes me happy. Let me address the things in myself that I don't like. Let me address my insecurities. Let me address, you know, the things, you know, in my spiritual life or my views or whatever. So, you know, that way I feel like there's a lot of mental clutter that, you know, you'll end up freeing yourself of, and to be able to operate. A lot of times there's a frustration when you feel like you know what you need to be doing, or at least the outcome that you want, but because of all that clutter, you can't do it. So young people, you know, the path and the process of self-improvement, self-betterment, get on that.
That's how it go, man. They definitely need it, man. They need to live out here and don't try to look like they trying to die out here, man. Live out here, man. What you doing? What y'all doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bookstraightup.com, man. What is that about? Like, what can they get when they go to that site?
I've always just used a website as a way for people really to make payments. That's what my website started out as. And for Book Straight Up, the idea is I recently did it to kind of make it to where it's like more streamlined, to where as soon as you get there, you can just kind of click on exactly what you need. You know, if you're there just for pricing, the way I have the form set up is if you click that, it'll skip all the other stuff and bring you straight to pricing. You know, you can download the picture or whatever. If you want to book, it'll bring you, you know, a music video. You can go on the calendar and request a date and all that. Automates the process. I envision having a system where I could have like a queue of, you know, directors where, like, you know, hey, if I get requests for, you know, music videos, I can let whomever know, hey, there's a queue and you can take the project, accept it or whatever. So that's kind of something that's kind of set up to do that, but I haven't started that process of adding other people to it just yet.
That's how that go, man.
Bookstraightup.com. But yeah, Instagram is the main, you know, my primary means of communication, doing business, connecting, all of that. So, you know, Mr.Onenine, that's primary.
That's how that go, Mr.Onenine, man. Glad to have you on the show, man.
Thank you.
This is the
I appreciate you for having me, bro. Like, for real, I really do. I respect what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Like I've said it before, like, this is what we need. We need voices. We need, you know, and not just, you know, you're not on here preaching that, like, you're literally doing what I feel like we all need to be doing, or not all, but people and who feel like you are a creator. That's something else, young people. Don't feel like the only contribution you have is a rap verse. You know, you can contribute by just simply having public conversations. Use your mind to express those same thoughts in just other ways. This is gold. Like shout out to you, like, for real. Shout out to you, bro.
I appreciate you.
Dope. Yeah, most
definitely, man. I ain't lying. This is the Keep It 1000 podcast. We just kept it a stack. Shout out to Mr.Onenine for being on the show. That's how that go. Y'all stay tuned to the next episode.
All right.
We out.
You bang with the camera. Boy, that camera, that boy bang.